All right. And we are live on the side quest where it looks snowy, apparently. What is going on with that video, Aaron? Is it snowing over there?
Oh, how's that? Just give it about 5 seconds to transition. I was on the preview window because I
Aha!
am
That's
a
actually
professional.
that's complete professional. Yeah, it's still on the preview. Oh, there we go. Welcome everybody to the side quest, your journey through video games. And I was like jumping into the other like 8 podcast crap I do. How you doing there, Aaron? It's
I'm
Aaron and Dolly.
I'm tired, man. It's been a long 2 weeks.
Really? Yeah, it kind of has been a long 2 weeks.
You guys didn't have doing a show last week, right?
No, we ended up. I was gonna actually record my own and just upload it, but I did not because it was me being lazy. Um,
I didn't
I
real
did.
I didn't
Go
realize
ahead.
we were gonna go on Wednesday. I thought I glanced at that conversation and I saw Wednesday or Thursday, and then I didn't see anybody specifically say Wednesday. So for some reason I went, oh, we're doing it Thursday, and then I just was not available Wednesday. I was moving. So
Aha.
then I checked in on Thursday, and everybody was like, "I don't know where the fuck Aaron is." It's like, whoops,
Whoops. Yeah,
whoops.
well, I couldn't even get freak. Sam and I were available, but then my streaming situation. Like I said, I've got we move into the new home in 3 weeks from tomorrow. So I believe in two, three, maybe 3 shows from now or so, we'll be I'll be streaming from the new house, which will actually make things a lot better. So that's a positive. Although I just realized that my office, which I'm super proud of, doesn't have a door,
Nice.
so it's completely wide open into the rest of the house. So I have to come up with a way to close that area off. So
I recommend buying a door.
I think I'm gonna buy a door. This is like a tall, skinny room. It's tall, skinny entryway. So it's like a 94-inch tall and like 34 inches wide area. So
Well,
I might
listen to this. If you think that is going to be a problem, I want you to feast your eyes. Let me see if I can get this in frame. There is no wall there. See that how that flag is pinched in the door?
what do you mean there's no wall there?
Like from here to
Uh-huh.
here, like this is the ceiling. This is space. This is air. This is open into my kitchen, and then the door starts here, and the
Oh
wall's right
shit,
here.
that's awesome.
Yeah,
That's awesome. So you can actually throw stuff at people into your kitchen if
totally,
they're in there.
totally.
That's cool. That's
Or
cool.
get people in the
Well, we're
kitchen to
we're gonna have
throw
a great
beers.
show, I think. We're gonna have a wonderful show.
I have things. I've actually played some things.
Yes, I have as well, and I can't wait to talk about things that we are playing. Why don't you start? Start with
Yeah.
things that you're playing.
Um, I was trying to think if there's any medical roundup we should get into. I don't think there is. I moved. I moved.
You moved.
Yep.
Yep.
So I'm in my
Oh,
new
I have a
place.
medical roundup. My daughter, which, if you hop on for you beautiful listeners, if you hop onto the site, you can actually listen. We did post a podcast last week, which was the ninth episode of Kid and Play, which is my daughter and I. It didn't go into our feed, but went on the site, about like 10, 15 minutes long.
SideQuestioning.com.
Yeah, sidequestion.com, its website. You can listen to us talk. My daughter now has I think they call it a spacer. So she puts it in her mouth and on her teeth, and then you turn the key like once every so often or once every few days, something. And it's supposed to help like push apart her jaw a little bit to help space her jaw correctly because her teeth are starting to come in all crazy. Like now, both my wife and I have this tooth issue.
Is
Um,
that like a pre-braces thing? Like do this and you won't need
yeah,
braces? Yeah.
yep. Well, yeah. So they're gonna see what it looks like after like 12 months or so. Keep an eye on it or whatever. They're gonna keep checking it, and she may not need braces depending on how her teeth are coming in. But yeah, but I did tell her that it's actually pretty awesome because I really wish that I ended up doing braces when I was younger or a retainer or something because everybody I know that did it when they were younger, their teeth are freaking phenomenal
My,
right now.
my
So
sister had braces, and then she
yeah.
said, "I don't want to deal with this. I'm irritated by this," and she stopped doing the braces things, and her teeth are fucked.
Oh, yeah. See, there you go. Yep. Yep. You have stuff flying in your room there. I'm seeing things flying around. You have like bugs or something.
Yeah, probably. I got a fruit fly
All right.
problem.
Oh, that's what it is. I see them. Hello,
Yeah.
fruit flies, the
So
official side questing pet.
yeah, so I moved into this apartment. I haven't gone grocery shopping yet, so there's no food in the apartment. And I'm sitting here and I go, "Oh, is that a fruit fly? What the fuck?" Um,
Huh.
and I go to like I kill it, and then I see another one like a couple of minutes later. So I kill that one, and I'm like, "All right, I'm gonna make some fruit fly traps." Fruit fly traps
Hmm.
are like cup, apple cider vinegar, cellophane over top, poke some holes. They
Yep.
climb in, can't get out. I laid down to read. This was before I had the internet hooked up, so I've been reading. I fell asleep. I woke up an hour later, and there were 75-ish fruit flies in the fucking trap. I don't know where
That's awesome.
I don't know where they came from, so I went, "Oh, this seems like a problem." So I grabbed my other glasses. I have 4 of them. I cleaned that one out. I refilled it, remade the trap, made 3 more traps. I put 2 in the kitchen because kitchen. Put
Yeah.
1 in the bedroom. Put 1 in the bathroom. That's my whole apartment. Laid down and read again. Fell asleep again. Woke up about 2 hours later. There were that many in each trap.
That's
I
unbelievable.
don't know where they're
Holy
coming.
shit.
I don't know where they're coming from, but I've since like cleaned the traps and like remade the traps again, and they're all full again. So I went out to do some grocery shopping today because that hurricane's coming on the
Yeah.
weekend. And I bought some fucking bleach and poured it down all my drains.
Yeah, you got to start there, yeah, and hopefully that'll start to kill these things off. You don't have any plants or anything in the house, do you?
Ooh.
All right, nothing you can talk about.
No, this is I could talk about it. It's legal in my country, but no.
It is. It's illegal in Detroit too, so I can talk about it.
Yeah, we're legally allowed to grow up to 4 plants in Canada, but no, I live in.
We can. People. I think people can. They can smoke it in Detroit, but they can't vape. So
Yeah.
that's something.
Yeah, Michigan, right?
Yeah, sorry, Tom.
Getting rid of all the flavored tobacco e-cigarette products because of the kids, and then it turns out that she fucking snuck in a bunch of bans on other stuff too that had nothing to do with it, right?
Yeah. That's typically how it goes with American politics.
Yeah,
But whatevs.
but yeah,
So yeah, fruit flies.
yeah, so they're annoying, but hopefully they'll be dead soon. Um, yeah, it was a very fast move. We did the entire move in three hours.
That's unbelievable. Ours took a month, and we're in between houses now. Actually, I take it back. We started moving stuff. We had always kind of kept things in boxes, but we were actually moving things as far back as beginning of February.
Yeah,
We finally finished, and we were cramming at the end of June
I started
to finish everything else.
I started packing at this beginning of August, and then in my last apartment, I just had boxes there. And then in like the 3 days leading up to my move, I was spending every night like carrying the little stuff to the new apartment, just stacking it.
Yep.
And then the day of the move, we got 2 trucks and a car, and we just did everything in like 3 trips.
That's good.
Took about
Like
an
pickup
hour.
trucks, is what you call it? Or-
Like 2 pickup trucks and like a halfback.
Cool.
But yeah, we did it in about 3 hours. We were aiming for 1. It didn't really work. And
Yeah.
I broke my desk.
Oh, and that sucks, dude.
So my desk right now is the top of my desk on top of 2 fucking playing card tables.
It works apparently, but
It's very wobbly, but yeah, no, I've been so I've had a lot of downtime, which means I've been playing a lot of video games.
yeah, let's talk about these games.
Yeah, I'm looking for my phone, and it's on the bed. It's slightly right there. It's too far. I can't do it. I've been playing Gears Pop, and it's not good.
Yeah. Oh, really?
Yeah,
You're the one who doesn't like.
it's hey, have you ever played any of those Clash style games? Any of them ever? It's one of those. It's literally one of those. It's exactly those. It's got the same play style, the same ranking system, the same aggressive microtransactions, and the game's not stable. And within 24 hours, I was playing against hackers.
Yeah, there are. I've noticed a lot of hackers in the game. I've only played like a little bit too, but not like maybe 20 minutes.
So I've put time into it because I had nothing else to do. I think my rank is my score is like 1700 or something like that, which puts me in like the top whatever. I probably put 20 hours into it, and then I was like, I'll throw some money at this because I'm maybe gonna write about this, and I want to at least see what happens because these style of games, they tend to be very light on the aggressiveness at first. It's like, oh, you can play a game, you'll open some chests. And
It's real easy.
it's really easy, and you'll be able to do good, and you'll fight people of your own skill level, and you'll probably win a bunch. So I put probably 15 or 20 hours in, and it seemed pretty balanced. And so I said, all right, I'm gonna buy the beginners pack or whatever it was called. It was like $8. I bought it, and it gave me a bunch of upgrades. And then all of a sudden, I'm fighting people way above my level, like people with units that like people like running essentially the exact same team that I was running, except all of their units were like 2 or 3 levels higher than mine.
Hmm.
And it's just like, well, you can't win against that. It's not like you can play around it. It's a mirror match. Like everything that they have is everything that you have, except theirs is better. It's like, well, okay. And I kept playing, and that essentially kept happening. And it kept seeming to me like it's just like, well, I guess I could put more money into it, and then I could get maybe some levels, and then I wouldn't be having this problem. But I've played these games before. Like I know how this goes, and so it's like, all right, I'm fucking done. But on top of that, um, every match seems very unstable. Like the match will start out, and then the whole game will hiccup. Um, and I can't tell if it's just for me or for both of us because it'll seem like we'll both throw down a bunch of units onto the field and they'll start walking, and then the game will stall, and then all of a sudden neither of us have played any units, but our units have all killed each other, and it's just like, oh well, I guess we're playing catch up now. Our energy bar has been full for a while. Um, and there was a bunch like I started playing. I mentioned it. Like I started seeing hackers. I played against a dude whose units were invisible and untargetable until they got like all the way up my field, capturing like your barricades, your chest high cover, because that's what it is in that game. They would just be invisible until they were up all the way through those and shooting at like my ancient or whatever the fucking term is for in these Clash games. Um, or they would appear right up next to my guys. Like if I had guys on my side of chest high cover, they would walk up to capture it, and my guys wouldn't be shooting them because they were invisible. Then they would walk up and start shooting my guys and appear. And it's just like, okay, oh, this is weird. I've seen, I've played against people whose characters are immune to damage, including ultimates. One of the items, a bunch of the items in the game are different types of grenades, and they all have different effects. The one that I tend to use is the straight damage grenade. I've thrown it and had it land squarely on a dude and watched him take 0 damage from it. Some of the units, like the rare units, have abilities that you have to manually trigger. Like one of the Carmines has a shotgun blast. It shows up in a cone, and then you press a little gear cog, and he fires it off when it's charged up. I've shot that into probably 10 enemies that somebody massed throughout, and none of them took any damage. So, I don't know. I like Gears of War. I'm a fan of Gears of War. I don't like Gears Pop.
So many people talk, rave about the game, and like I said, I only put a little bit of time in it, so it's not really fair for me to. I've had fun, fleeting minutes that I have played. Just bit that you're like, oh, this is super cool, and it's easy, and look at all the stuff I can do. So that's the point that I'm still at with this.
That's that game. That's every one of those games. Those games are made. Those games are like the inverse of video games, where like a video game, assuming a video game doesn't hook you in the first 30 seconds, chances are the further you get into it, assuming like it's competent, eventually you're going to be like, all right, I like this game. These Clash style games are the exact opposite, where you get into it and like it onboards you immediately. You're like, yeah, this is really good. This tutorial was super simple. I vaguely know exactly what I'm doing, and then you play it, and it's like, wow, this is amazing. And then the longer you play it, the worse it gets. The game doesn't change, really. It just gets worse. I don't regret putting the money into it. Like,
Yeah.
I played, like, like I said, like by the time that I put $8 into it, I had played 20 hours. Like that seems,
Oh, it's a great, yeah, it's a totally fair
yeah,
investment.
not that you can put $1 on time spent or whatever the old argument is. That seems fair to me. It seems worth it. Like, yeah, sure, okay, they got my money, and then immediately I'm never gonna play again. But whatever, I don't feel like it was a waste of money. Um,
Goals over the next oh shit, it's unfortunate, it's that crazy ass time, the crazy ass time where they were getting releases after releases, which we're going to be talking about obviously, but I want to clear through a bunch of my copies, like one of the ones where so be playing it, but I play the majority of my mobile games is on the toilet at work. If I'm in between meetings, whatever, I'll just run, sit down for like 3, 4, 5 minutes. That's it. Our network, pun intended, the toilets over there, so you don't get network access. So if I was to play any, which I don't, boss, I have to be offline, and you can't play. There's like nothing that's offline anymore. So I can't play Gears Pop, but I really want to. So I'm hoping to find some time, a few weeks here, where I can sit down and just plow through a bunch of those mobile games, including Gears Pop game. But I'll wait till after you're done.
Yeah. Let me see. I'm pulling up Steam now just so I can look. I played Cliff Empire. Somebody bought me a bunch of fucking shit off my wish list on Steam for my birthday, and Cliff Empire was on there, and I happened to get it. So
that was, what day was your birthday? It was last
27th
Tuesday.
Yeah, it was last Tuesday. It's okay. It's essentially, I had some preconceived opinions about that game based on the trailers. And still wanted to play it to confirm it. It's essentially what I thought that game was. It's a very slow-paced city builder type game with a kind of a neat hook. It kind of straddles the line between city builder and idler. Not because you're dealing with like timers like you would in a free-to-play game with click here and spend some gems or whatever. And it's not really that. But everything tends to move on a timer, and it's like on an internal timer, and the game itself is like just paced very slowly. It's the sort of game where it's like you can do a little bit and then just let it sit there and accumulate resources and do something else. But the hook is that it's like a post-apocalypse nuclear winter type thing, and the zones you're building on are the tops of skyscrapers in this nuclear winter. So you've got very limited like flat space to build on. And like your resources you're harvesting from these skyscrapers, so you're getting like junk metal that you have to resmelt, and it's like your drills are drilling down into these skyscrapers for metal, and like your water source is super limited, and it's like water that happens to accumulate on the tops of these skyscrapers, and you can pull it from the air and stuff. But that doesn't really come into play. Like that's not really a thing. That's more just the backstory flavor type thing. It's just kind of a cool aesthetic for that game. I quite enjoyed it. I can't really say too much about it. Like it's a city builder. Like you build buildings to build other buildings, which eventually let you research things, which let you upgrade your buildings to get better resources faster. And it's one of those. It seems okay. If you like those games, you might like this, especially if you're the type of person that likes to have some shit going on in the background. I played Oxygen Not Included. That came out.
Yeah, how is that? I've known very little about that.
That game is really, really, really good. There's a lot of game in that game.
A lot of game in that game.
Yeah, so it's like a 2D colony survival game. You start with 3 guys or girls. And who have various sets of skills, which you can set up beforehand, in the style of like RimWorld or something like that. You have to build a colony, and like dig out. Essentially, you warp into the middle of like a planetoid or an asteroid or something. So you have to dig out a base, and all the stuff that space survival comes with. So you have to figure out how to generate enough oxygen so that your guys don't suffocate. You have to figure out how to get water so you can have water. You have to figure out how to produce food because you only start with so many rations. You have to build toilets because your dudes will just like piss themselves and make a huge mess, and that causes everybody to have stress and go space mad. And you have to build beds, and then it just there's a huge tech tree, so you have to build like research stations, which means you have to generate power, and it's like. And like those all generate heat, and there's like a whole balance between heat and cold, and like things won't grow in the heat or they won't grow in the cold, which means now your food's messed up. And the bigger you make your base, the more oxygen is required to like have your oxygen in your base. So if it's too much base and not enough oxygen, the air's really thin and they're like suffocating. And they breathe, which means they breathe out carbon dioxide. So now you're balancing gases, and as you're mining, you're finding sources of like hydrogen and chlorine, which humans can't breathe. So you got to deal with those, and all the gases like rise or sink depending on what type of gases they are. So now you're balancing that, and it's it's really fun and it's really complicated. And you can start on like there's like 9 different planetoids. Like there's like just the base game planetoid, which is like, oh, there's a bit of everything in here. Go wild. There's a bunch of biomes, lots of resources, and you'll have a good time. There's one that's like a volcano and it's super hot. It's like, well, how the fuck do you get food? Like, how do you get it? How do you stop your water from boiling away? Like shit like that. Like it's just very cool. It's a really good game. It's super super intuitive to learn. Like all of the main like your main action is essentially digging. Like you dig and then you build and stuff like that.
Okay.
But it has its own dedicated button that's on the screen. So it's like you can figure out how to dig right there. And then all the more complicated stuff is in menus, but the menus are like very nicely labeled and like they're all very straightforward. And every time you unlock a new type of research, when it shows up in those menus, it shows up marked as new, like you've never interacted with before. So you can tell at a glance like the stuff you've been looking at before and the stuff that has popped up since you last looked. So it's like, oh, what was that thing I needed? Oh, this just popped up. It's got an exclamation mark next to it. That means it's not what I'm looking for. So it's got to be one of these over here. There's like a really in-depth database, like help database. So it's like, what does this do? Oh, how do I do this? Like, yeah, it's just really good. It's really good. I'm really surprised at how good it is. It looks really cool.
There's a good. It sounds like there's a good like level of accessibility without making it like easy, I guess. Like you're mentioning just this resource aspect of it, which typically good luck trying to find anything any specific things you need. You're gonna have to hop in and out of menus, but that those extra layers out of there just to make certain aspects like almost like a user experience portion, which seems that level of accessibility I think can really help in games, and that's from the way you're describing it seems to angle towards that a little bit.
It does, and it's like if I was to compare it to like other games that are similar, like I think this is easier to learn than RimWorld was. A game that I've put thousands of hours into. I think it's easier to learn than Dwarf Fortress, a game that I've put hundreds of hours into and is one of the most complicated games I've ever played. I think it's insanely more easy to learn than Don't Starve.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah. And Don't Starve is bonkers. Yep. That's a lot.
Yeah. I think people could really like Oxygen Not Included. It looks cool. It's got a very unique art style. A lot of those games sort of.
Who's the developer for that game?
Let me see. I'm gonna pull it up on Steam right here.
Oxygen Not Included.
Oxygen Not Included store page. Oxygen Not Included is it's Clay Entertainment.
Oh, it is Clay. So they did Don't Starve, and then they did Oxygen Not Included.
Yeah, they are the developer and the publisher. Clay Entertainment.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Sounds like they learned a little bit about from Don't Starve.
It's $27.99 Canadian. The price, that's the official launch price now that it is officially launched. Feel free to do the math on that, whatever that works out to American.
Yeah.
I think that's roughly everything I've played. I'm not sure I've played.
How many hours have we put into that one?
Oxygen Not Included?
How much do you think?
I have 34 hours on it, so says Steam, but I'm playing it at home and at work. So I don't know if that's accurate or not. I assume it is.
Sure.
I have 34 hours in that, and I just started playing it after Cliff Empire, which I have 13 hours in. I've got 20-ish hours in Gears Pop. Have I played anything else? I'm just quickly scrolling through to find. I don't think I have.
In the old Steam layout. They're gonna get a new Steam layout pretty soon too.
I don't like Steam. I haven't liked Steam's layout since they updated to the Discord.
Well, like I said, they're supposed to have some sort of new library coming out, right?
Oh, really?
The beta's out. Yeah, that's floating around the web. They've kind of, I think a bunch of places have shown it already, but I don't know when it's supposed to be released. Cool.
I think that's everything.
Okay.
I don't think I've played anything else.
Um. All right. I'll only jump into what I've been playing here. I've been playing a couple mobile games. To start, one is I'm still enjoying the hell of it. Is Angry Birds Dream Blast, which is just one of those bubble pop type of games. Uh, it's super easy, but it's not a difficult game. It's not a good game. It's just kind of satisfying. It's like a really nice little satisfactory um, type of experience where you know I'm not tempted at all to put any kind of cash into it. You get 5 turns every, I don't know, every couple hours or something. But yeah, it's you're just kind of popping bubbles and lining up 4 bubbles of the same color, and you pop it, and you get an angry bird and
Can you make
different
can
angry
you,
birds.
can you
Do
make the
different
noise? Can you do the bird noises?
You can make the. I can't personally. I can't do the bird noises, but you're asking wrong. But yes, you could do bird noises
No,
there.
I'm asking you to do it.
No, I don't remember what they sound like.
Yeah, there we go.
Like, you got me. I sound like Link falling off a cliff.
Just gonna quickly open up. Oh, I'm not.
Here's your gift.
I'm not. I'm not restreaming this. I was gonna fucking open up Twitch dashboard and timestamp that and use that as a sub notification. Oh, that's the other thing. I'm a Twitch affiliate now.
Oh, hey, you made it.
So,
all right.
Just not to cut you off, I wasn't streaming while I was moving because I didn't have internet, so my total time went down, but my viewership from my last stream went up, way up.
How'd that happen?
I streamed Shortest Trip to Earth, and apparently, apparently there was an audience for it because it was like super new. So I had a lot of viewers,
Nice.
and then my time went down. So all of a sudden, I popped up to the minimum, and I met all the other requirements. So I'm a Twitch affiliate now.
Sweet. Good, congratulations.
Yeah, Aaron Kelly. Twitch
Yeah,
affiliate.
I've got to start. Well, like I said, as soon as this house move takes place, that's one of my big goals is to really get into Twitch stuff and start streaming more often and just essentially figure this out because I think that's obviously where a lot of the gaming stuff is heading. So, but yeah, so yeah, Angry Birds Dream Blast, and then Pokemon Masters. I've been playing that a little bit.
I heard that is dog shit with the microtransactions.
Holy cow! Not only that, so I haven't even like dove into the microtransactions because you get crystals everywhere, like from the get go on this game. But there, if you're not ready for this game, like if you're not ready to go all in on a game right away, you got to be hardcore. Here's the thing: you got to be hardcore into Pokemon, and you have to know exactly how mobile games work these days. And then you have to have plenty of time to learn all these machinations because they throw you right into the process. What I mean by that is, okay, so you control a team of 3 Pokemon Masters who have Pokemon with them, and they form these sync things, I guess, whatever they're called. And you pick one of the other 3 Pokemon Masters across the board that you attack, and the battles kind of take head that way, and then your actual Pokemon attacks are timed. So over time, the little timer for, like, let's say the electric charge thing from Pikachu will recharge faster. So all your moves have a recharge time. And you can use items, you can do special moves, you can do combos, things like that.
Can you pay money to recharge your attacks immediately?
I think you can,
Oh,
using like crystals and shit. I haven't. That's why I make it a point not to pay any of that kind of stuff because it yeah. So that's why I don't know if you can get, but I'm pretty confident you can. There is and that's essentially the whole game, is that you're just facing off against other masters. There's a story mode, and there's some like basic you're hunting around for other masters trying to find out why certain things are transpiring as usual. It's just, that's the most basic explanation possible. It's a Pokemon game, but you can, if you take on masters, a lot of times they'll join they'll join your squad, and you got to work away between them and others and kind of form your perfect team and what works well together. That's it. It's nothing special. But boy, does it try to get you to spend a lot of fucking real world money, because it's throwing shit right away, like crystals and all that kind of stuff. I didn't have the game on for like maybe a day. Logged back on today. it had a half a gig download just a little bit ago, and you hit the go button, and it's you get a bunch of free shit, but it's not enough free shit to do anything with.
Yep.
It's the first day of this month's streak of free shit, and it goes through like 10 of those, and it's just a lot of freaking nonsense. So I don't know if I'm gonna be getting too deep into this game. It seems like the Pokemon games, all of them except for Pokemon Go, which is like the easiest to understand for anybody, um, have really been, and I think all of Nintendo's games have really been microtransaction heavy. Now, Fire Emblem, I went back to that game on the mobile. Love that game to death. Dragalia Lost is really good, but that one's also kind of there's a lot of shit going on in that too. And Pokemon Masters, it's just there's a lot of shit in this game, and I'm not
So you mean to
I'm
tell
not convinced.
you mean to tell me that the conceit of this game is that you're controlling a team that already has their own Pokemon? So you're
A
telling me
team that already has
you
yeah.
you telling me I can't get a Snorlax?
You have to get the person who has a Snorlax on their squad, and so it's yeah, it's and I've put a few hours, like maybe 3 or 4 hours into this thing, and it's does not have its hooks in me. So we went to our cottage over the long holiday. We had a Labor Day weekend here in the U.S.
Yeah,
I think you guys have it as well.
We had that here too.
Yep.
I worked.
And so you worked, of course. Thank you for using your labor on Labor Day. We went to up to our cottage. We have sort of a small cottage. We call it up north, which is north of where we are. Which is actually it's probably north of where you are too, if you look on that latitudinal longitude, whatever that is.
Was it cool?
So, yeah. And I'm like, let me play some of this Pokemon Masters. So I put a couple hours into it. I think one of the days we were there, we were out walking around. So every time we went out walking, I just pop up Pokemon Masters and play it. And yeah, nothing. No feeling for it. There's a lot of fucking reading involved. I guess if you're a hardcore Pokemon lore fanatic, then you'll be into this game. But not me. Not I, sir. The real shit that I've been playing, I'll get the easy stuff first, which is the Super NES Classic Mini Edition, which is the Super Nintendo Online stuff, is now on the Switch. They announced it during the Direct the other day, and we'll talk a little about that in the news portion. I've been playing those games, and there's like 3 or 4 games that launch immediately. There are 20 games that launch right away, and three or four of them either have never been on U.S. shores or never been played on a console since the original SNES. So they're already essentially better than the Super NES Classic that's out there. So yeah, I played a little bit of that, and it's pretty damn solid. I just hope they get a few more of those good classic games on there. Link to the Past is great on this thing. It's so nice to have some of the games from the best console ever on this device. And then Creature in the Well. Playing Creature in the Well, which I reviewed. My review will be going up. The game launches tomorrow, the 6th. My review is written. I'm just kind of going through some final edits right now. So maybe up tonight or maybe up tomorrow morning. I haven't decided yet. It'll be up in the next day or so here. So it's to describe the game, and if people have seen our coverage or not, excuse me, I'm tired. Oh, Lord Almighty.
SideQuesting.com
describe the game.
More coverage.
SideQuesting.com for yawns. No, more coverage. It's essentially a dungeon crawler / pinball type of game.
Oh, it's this game.
Yeah. So they use the art style. It's based on the art style from the guy that does the Hellboy comics. So it's got this really cool graphic style. It's a lot of like deep contrast, a lot of flat colors. It looks like everything looks like a came straight out of a comic book, which is really cool. And I was trying to there was a way to describe this. So the pinball and game mechanics aside, the way to describe this game, if there was some weird hook in my head, or there's something in my head in the back of my mind that said you know how to describe the plot of this game, the idea of this game very easily, but I couldn't vocalize it until I finally did, like just now. So I finally did, which is you've seen Home Alone.
Yes.
You know of Home Alone. Okay. You know how the
American
hero
President
Kevin,
Donald Trump is in Home Alone.
There you go. He's in Home Alone Part 2. You know how Kevin is the hero of the Home Alone movies, and he's getting robbed by the Wet Bandits, and in the first one, he's kind of this voyeur watching them and pulling traps on them and stuff as they're trying to get into the house. Um, in in Creature in the Well, you are the wet bandits, and the creature in the well is Kevin from Home Alone, because he's watching you, and he's kind of this weird voyeur. It's not like a horror game. It's basically this big giant monster that's living in this big mountain. Um, uh, and so you're always either seeing his eyeballs just kind of pop up out of the darkness, or his hand will come around a corner or something. You never see him fully, and I'll kind of leave spoilers aside there. But he's and it's basically he is Kevin from Home Alone, and you are the wet bandits, because you're trying to make your way through and solve the puzzles and avoid his traps as you get to the end. And the game's designed. There's several levels, and you're essentially trying to start up this machine that helps kind of filter the shitty weather and the sand out in the middle of the desert, and help humanity and all that kind of stuff, or whatever the life forms are out there. And you play the part of this robot. And so I'm playing on the Switch. What?
Wally.
Yeah. Wally. Yeah, exactly. It's Wally. Yeah. Okay. Holy shit! There's a fruit fly here now.
What, in your
I
apartment?
kid you not. There somehow a fruit fly came through the internet and it's floating around here. That's wild. Yeah, it's horrible. Good job.
Thanks.
Yeah. So yeah, he's like watching you, and he's plotting against you and everything, because we're invading his territory. And holy cow! Nope, did not get him. So yeah, tell me if you guys can see that stupid fly, because it's floating around my face right now. So love that art style, and love the audio that goes along with it. But I will say one thing: do not fucking play this thing on an undocked Switch, because not only is it difficult to kind of see certain things because of how so you basically slash your sword around, or your weapon, and you have a couple weapons. There's just a general weapon that hits the pinballs everywhere, the laser pinballs, and then there's sort of this charged weapon where you can suck in pinballs, make them more powerful, and shoot them back out. To watch the pinballs zip around the screen on a big screen is fantastic. On the tiny Switch screen, or on the Switch's screen in portable mode, very difficult well, not difficult, but not impossible, but not enjoyable to try to manage them, because they are going all over the place, and it makes it difficult to sort of plan for a lot of these things. And the Joy-Cons suck balls when you're trying to actually control this guy on the undocked Switch. But play with a Pro Controller on a big screen, and this game is it's very, very good to control in that respect. So yeah, you're reactivating different portions of this machine, and so you can kind of open up secret rooms and stuff depending on how you run around the dungeons and the levels and stuff. You get different weapons. You can get different abilities, so you can actually slow down some of the laser balls, the pinballs flying at you, so you can aim them and position them. And essentially, your goal is to, in the majority of the rooms, is to knock down the typical bumpers that you'd find in a pinball machine. So the pinball flies at you, you shoot it at one of the bumpers, and you hit the bumper enough times, and it drops. And if you knock enough of the bumpers down, a big sort of energy draw thing will pop up in the middle and start sucking, all the pinballs and gather energy, and you get energy, which lets you open the doors in the dungeon. You go forward. Every once in a while, you'll be in rooms where like actual lasers will fire at you, weapons will fire at you, or you'll get these like floating drones. So there's a little bit of this bullet hell style mechanic to it, which can lead to some kind of harrowing situations. But I've sort of figured out a hack to it. What I mean by harrowing is that you'll get a bajillion of these drones in there, and all the pinballs will be located in the middle of the room, and you will get hit if you go in there. What I've figured out a way to do is that if you launch the way dungeons are set up, you can launch a couple pinballs, and if there's drones flying around, you can actually leave the room while the pinballs are bouncing around, and then hop back in, and the drones will have been destroyed, and you can go ahead and start that process or continue the process with less enemies in the room. So there's a little bit of a hack that I've sort of figured out. Sorry, developers, I think it's Flight Studio, whatever the names are. Sorry. Yeah, I like the map design. The game's really intuitive, but the kind of my two main issues outside of the playing on the undocked screen is that it's repetitive. And what I mean by that is it's actually very. There are some rooms which are the exact same rooms in different dungeons, and those are sort of meant for you to just kind of have fun and knock a pinball around, let it bounce around, and gather up the power that you need. Um, but they're the same exact room, or at least they feel like the exact same room. Uh, so there's some repetitiveness there. Then you have um, the issue that it's there's not much difference in any of from repetition standpoint in any of the rooms, to be honest. And even the most complex rooms are sort of repeated a few times and some slight variations. It's the same bumpers in every room. It's the same, the pinballs or laser balls located in the middle, and you have the same drones. And it's just kind of they mix and match between those, and you really do run out really quickly. It feels like you run out of ideas really, really quickly. So there's that whole aspect of that sort of lack of variety. And then there's the notion that it's really trapped in between wanting to be an action dungeon crawler and a pinball game. So it's not fully a dungeon crawler because you don't get enough of that sort of RPG loot stuff in there, and the levels aren't that big. And it's not enough of a pinball game because the ball is just bouncing one direction, it hits a corner and veers off to a different way. So you can kind of plan the angle, but it's all about the angles. There's no like physics involved in this. The balls don't actually bounce. There's no weight to these things. They just kind of go around until they flicker out. So it doesn't quite feel enough. Doesn't quite feel like there's enough of a pinball experience in there. So if they go either way, I'd like to see them go more towards the latter, make a slightly more pinball-ish game. I think that could work really well. But yeah, I think that's a little bit of an issue. It's kind of torn between. Right now, it feels like an action dungeon crawler with a little bit of pinball idea in there, I guess. If that's it's a little bit of a pinball glaze in there. So, but I am enjoying it because the visuals are so great, and it's not difficult. I'm not finding any of the challenge rooms to be difficult. The boss battles are just a series of puzzles you have to solve, and the game is relatively short. You can probably knock through it in a day if you're really interested. I mean, I'm only on my Switch, it registers every game how much time after like a few days. It starts registering the actual time you've played in the game or starts showing it. And I've had this code for like a week, and I'm at the end of the game. I completed the game, and it still hasn't shown the actual time that is in there. So I'm guessing it's like maybe about 3 to 4 hours. You could probably zip through it really quickly. At least that's what I'm kind of finding right now, unless there's this whole other aspect that I completely missed, which I did not. Enjoyable game. It's worth it to just kind of try out, but I think you'll kind of get bored. There's a possibility you'll get kind of worn out by the repetition of it, but it's really gracious on the auto saving. So even if you die, you can get right back to the room that you were in fairly quickly. So there's not that big issue there. So I think that's the easiest aspect of or what makes the game super easy. So I don't know, give it a shot. It's unique, and I think that's always a blessing. But play it on the big screen with the Pro controller. Don't use the Joy-Cons. And that's it. That's what I've been playing. I'm hopping back into Marvel Ultimate Alliance and Fire Emblem Three Heroes. And there's a whole fucking slew of games. Final Fantasy VIII just came out, and I'm tempted to pick that up.
Yeah,
I can download a bunch of the.
I've been fighting it.
Yep, same here. Download a bunch of that. I mean, I still have Final Fantasy IX to play, and I'm not even gonna bother picking up 7 for anything right now until
we should
out.
reach out to Square Enix and get me a code for the Final Fantasy VIII remaster, and then I will
for PC.
Yeah, and then I will stream it, and the entire stream will just be me calling out Mr. Megadeth.
There you go. Sorry, John,
for being a fan of the inferior of the trilogy, Final Fantasy VII.
Yes, it is actually the inferior one of the trilogy.
Hi,
7,
John.
8, 9. I do believe. So I think and a few things here and there. There's a bunch of stuff that popped up on Switch that I've been diving in, but whatever. That's it. So that's what I got. I think that's it. No Sam means we actually get to hop right into news
News.
today.
We did it.
News.
So I have last week's news and this week's news, and even then, I've only it's a curated list, so I've got maybe 8 stories.
Okay, that's fine.
As per usual, I have nothing Nintendo focused, so I don't have anything.
I'll drop those towards the end.
Okay,
you can go ahead. Look at our stuff.
I'll start with last week's. I'm gonna try to bang through them quick. Telltale Games is being revived.
Yeah.
This was
ish.
This was reported a bunch of places. The link that I picked for citation purposes is a story by Colin Campbell over at Polygon.
Okay.
Anyway, the bullet points are that a company named LCG Entertainment purchased the assets. It's a company being headed by Jamie Otillier and Brian Waddle. It might be Otillier, it might be Odelay. I don't know how it's pronounced. I haven't heard it spoken.
Odelay. That's a great song.
Yeah. They're claiming that some workers from the original Telltale staff will be offered freelance roles, and then maybe full-time positions, quote, in the future. And they retain the back catalog rights to all of the original Telltale games and stuff like Wolf Among Us and Batman.
So the Warner DC stuff.
Yeah.
Okay. How do you feel about that? There was some drama on the web about this.
I don't know. I think it's a little weird. I think I'd feel better. I think I'd feel better about it if that other company hadn't done like a decently good job of trying to make things right with the Walking Dead stuff. I think it was.
Yeah, Skybound.
Thank you. Like they seemed like they did an okay job trying to make things a little kosher. Like they wanted to finish their thing because Skybound is, I think, Robert Kirkman's company.
Yep.
So
they own the Walking Dead IP.
Yeah. They reached out. They tried to get some Telltale people in there. Like they want to finish it up proper and all that stuff. And they seemed like decently respectful about the whole situation. So this feels a little skeezier. But
This is actually very common in like every industry out there, and people will. I mean, it's happening with Toys R Us right now. People are excited. Oh, Toys R Us is coming back. Well, no, it's coming back in name because somebody bought the brand.
Well, this is THQ,
and this is You mean what? Telltale LCG?
No. I mean, this is what THQ happened to.
Yeah, THQ exactly. THQ Nordic.
Yeah, another.
Yeah, THQ died. Nordic came in and they bought up a bunch of THQ properties and a bunch of other stuff. And this is just another case of it. And yeah, it's a bummer that they're not able to retain some of that talent, but a lot of that talent already moved on. I mean, a lot of those folks already got gigs in a lot of places.
It's not like they could afford to sit around and fucking wait for somebody to try and revive Telltale and maybe get the job back.
Exactly. I mean, I would be hoping that everybody has already been hired again, and anybody who hasn't, is. So I can understand that part. I actually even in a weird way understand why they're going with this whole contract route. It's because I don't know how, and unfortunately they're not being transparent enough, so we don't really know for sure. But they're essentially rebooting this company using the name. Atari did that too. I think Atari's another one.
Atari did that like 3 times.
Yeah, 3 times. I think they're doing it again, and
nice hat though.
So they're kind of keeping some of the IP in there, and they have folks on just support staff, from what it sounds like, contractors just doing like support, making sure these games are still functioning, and probably just like throwing patches out there. That's more than likely all they're doing right now until they figure out what they want to do with all these IPs and going forward. I'd imagine that once a lot of this IP management stuff gets resolved and they put a plan together, that they're going to start like actually fully hiring people to get projects going again. And one of the things that they seem to be doing right is whoever these new owners are have flat out said that they got to change their engine because people got sick. People did get sick of that Telltale engine. I mean, it really was. It's the same game over and over again, just a different gloss, different cover on it. And so
it is
for the most part.
I never had an issue. Like, I mean, I had a little bit of an issue with that, but my issue with that was more when they tried to do things that engine should not be doing. Like
Exactly.
when they tried to
Exactly.
add more actiony elements to a game.
Yep.
I
Guardians of the Galaxy didn't work
Yeah, I
very
know.
well at all.
I never liked that, but the
Yeah.
actual engine itself, in terms of the fact like you're playing a book.
Yeah.
That's what those
Yeah.
games should be. That engine was fine for that.
So you either have to go all in with the book aspect, or you have to come up with a better engine that can handle both. And I think
Sure,
it sounds like they want to do the latter, which is we still want to do that cool storytelling, but now we have to have an engine that can actually do if we want to do any action stuff,
and that's fair enough.
has to handle that too. So I'm at first I was like, oh, that this is garbage. They're buying the name, and I'm kind of taking a step back and saying, well, let me see what they do.
Yep.
Let me come back to me in a year if they've announced projects, if they actually know what they're doing with this thing,
And
then that
and
good or bad.
there's nothing saying that they don't rebrand
Yeah,
after they establish
exactly,
themselves.
exactly,
Like
and that happens too. Yeah,
yeah. So I mean, I can understand. This is maybe a rare example where I look at them sticking with the Telltale Games name and think,
hmm
yeah, I get it. I get
yeah,
it. I get it based on that catalog, based on the fact
yep,
that Telltale Games is synonymous with adventure games. Like, yeah,
yeah.
I get it.
And for all we know, they may just say, you know what, fuck it, we could save this ship on consoles and PC. Let's just make everything mobile going forward, and that might be the direction they take, which would suck for fans that loved it on other console and other products, but for them, money making is number one. So
Yeah.
business is business. It's unfortunately, but so we'll see. I'm gonna give them the benefit of the doubt and see where they are this point next year before I make any judgment. But this happens everywhere,
Yeah.
everywhere.
Speaking of number one, Randy's at it again.
Uh
Randy Pitchford.
oh, Randy Pitchford is at it again.
This came out last week.
Who'd have thunk?
This came out last week. It's more of an update than a brand new story. He's been accused of contempt for failing to disclose documents during discovery and the court proceeding of that big lawsuit that he's involved in.
Man,
Yeah.
maybe he showed them but made them disappear.
Ooh. Maybe they were invisible ink and he wouldn't tell them how to
Maybe
make them
they-
available. Invisible.
Here they are.
Fuck you, Randy. I hate you so much. I don't know anything about you.
What yeah.
I've never listened to you talk. I've never seen you do magic. Everything I know about you is essentially shit we made
Is
up
the
on the
negative.
show, like based
Yeah.
on the fact that you're a magician. I hate you so much.
That's the only way. God damn, we hate Randy because he's
All-
a cultist magician.
All I know about Randy is that he worships the devil badly, and he forgot a USB stick with porn on it.
Oh Lord.
And he stole $12 million. There's that. I do know
And there's that thing too.
there is that. Fuck you, Randy.
But Gearbox is you got Borderlands 3 coming out. People are excited for that.
Yeah.
That's next week, right?
That.
Friday the 13th.
Yes.
Eh.
I actually can check right now because I have the Epic Game Store launcher open.
Oh, okay.
Let's find out. Borderlands 3 is. No, I don't want to. Stop it. September 13th. Yeah.
Yeah, so next Friday. Wow.
Uh,
We're in that season.
Borderlands 3 includes the Fortnite Psycho Bundle Pack for free until December 31st,
Yes.
2020.
Sweet. What else you got?
So the night this one's a little bit rough. I have half of it written down. The other half happened over in between shows. So it starts out the Night in the Woods devs. They cut ties.
Oh yeah.
They cut ties with co-founder and co-creator Alex Holokwa after he was accused of sexual assault and harassment, which seemed very much true. Like it doesn't seem like anybody of import disputed anything that he was accused of. The Night in the Woods devs, the remaining devs, they came out pretty quickly. They released a statement on Twitter. It was 6 or 7 tweets, like big tweets long, where they essentially said we cut ties with them. This shit's fucked. We were having nothing to do with them. So good on them. The addendum to that story is that he killed himself.
Yeah.
Like 3 or 4 days into this. His sister released a statement afterwards. I believe it was his sister, essentially saying that she didn't want anybody going after anybody, and he was fucked. But he wasn't all bad, and they were family, and she's gonna miss him. And
He was trying to change or something.
he was trying to change, and that he himself had requested the nobody go on a witch hunt for anybody, which didn't work. Witch hunts
Yeah.
galore. Gamergate's risen up again over this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So um, that in a vacuum is terrible all around.
Yeah. Yeah.
In I think the same 24-hour period, Jeremy Soule, composer of Guild Wars and Elder Scrolls, among a shitload of other things,
Mm-hmm.
was accused of rape.
Yep.
And following that, it turns out that he was something of a serial predator.
Jeez.
A lot of accusations against that dude.
It's fun. It's interesting, and I don't want to say interesting. What people have they've been basically saying that gaming is having its Me Too moment right now, which is important. And I think it's needed to happen for the longest time. I know a few folks that mentioned in the past, cryptically mentioned in the past, that they had been assaulted by someone in the industry, someone with a bigger name in the industry, and then this was like a few years ago, and then when the name finally came out, um, they said, yeah, that was a guy, and so um, this is it's it's unfortunately uh, something that needs to change. Gaming has been a male run industry for so long, and it's been a boys club. And if you went to E3 years ago, I mean, even like a few years ago, I mean, you had dancing girls, you had at parties, you had
Well, I mean,
booth babes,
Booth
you
Babes
had,
was
I mean, it was the whole, that was the CES was the same way too. God, this is fruit fly. And that was the industry, right? That was the landscape. It was a boys club, and not and guys were getting away with doing a lot of stuff because it was just other guys there, and nobody was calling them out.
speaking of that, within I think 48 hours of these other two things, Alexis Kennedy, who is the co-founder of Failbetter, he was a writer and designer on games like Sunless Sea, Cultist Simulator, Fallen London. Also, turns out, is a sexual predator. And this dude has a penchant for trying to silence and sue people who accuse him of stuff.
Whew.
Yeah.
Good lord.
Yep. He was the third in a string of I believe as of now still the most recent. It was like boom, 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 all these three. This dude seems like, not to downplay the seriousness of the other two, because fuck those guys. This dude seems next level fucked up.
Wow.
Like,
he has the money to do crazy shit.
Well, he's
essentially to hurt people.
He and actively attempts to post fact. Like, he'll like, he apparently will threaten people. He'll serve, like, get people served with like cease and desist letters. He'll get lawyers involved and try to shut people down that way, make it so they can't talk about it. Like, this dude's fucked. But yeah, there's a lot of fucking scumbags in this industry.
There are, and it's every industry, but we're a game podcast. We're going to focus on game stuff, and we're going to try to. I mean, you can only, like, the motto is you got to clean your backyard, right? And so we got to clean this backyard. We got to change the mentality here and really getting it's dudes. It's the majority of the folks that do this are.
I would bet like by the numbers, like percentage wise, there's probably no more percentage of scumbags in this industry than any other industry. It's just that our industry is so close knit.
Yes, like, exactly. Yeah.
Like, okay, here's an example. My family used to work in the film industry. I've done some modest film work. I've never met any of the people accused of heinous shit in Hollywood.
Sure.
That's a huge industry, and like, I'm not close enough to any of them to have even come into contact. Like, I'm 5 degrees of Kevin Bacon away from Harvey Weinstein. You know what I mean? Like, I'm way out there. I know I was friends with some people who have been accused of this kind of shit, and it turns out it's true, and it's really fucked up. Yep. And like, all of these people, with the exception of one, come from teams that tend to be more community focused. Like the Night in the Woods guys, like that was a little indie game.
Yeah.
Like they're out there on Twitter just talking to people. You know what I mean?
Yeah, totally. Very accessible, and yep.
But it's just,
I think yeah, it's shitty. I mean, from our standpoint, individually, it's like if we see something happening, we got to call it out right away. I mean, that's like my personal thing. Because I'd heard of stuff happening in the past. I had friends tell me stuff had happened to them in the past, and they've done things. My friends have tweeted about it, and they've done things to try to repair. And I'm letting the best we can do is you let the folks kind of heal in their own way and be there for them for this kind of stuff. But if we see something happen, I mean, you've got to call that shit out right away, and you got to get people to stop that behavior. And I mean, so and I don't want to go off on too much of a tangent. You always got to hope that people can have second chances or third chances, and that they're actually trying to be better. But we still have to call that shit out. We still have to say, hey, that's wrong. That behavior is wrong, and you need to seek help, and you need to make repairs for what you did. Hopefully, there's some way to that personal improvements people can make. But anyways, that's neither here nor there. We just gotta as an industry, we just gotta stop that behavior. We gotta not do it, and if we see it happening, we gotta call it out, and we gotta support the people that it's happened to.
Hey,
Let them
speaking of people whose behavior doesn't change, not to segue away from this.
Yeah, let's segue away. I'm totally fine.
Incredibly serious topic. Guess who's still applying for writing jobs in the industry?
Man,
our boy Phil Mewson, still trying to make them game writing dollars.
I saw that pop up on Twitter.
Yep.
I'm like, man.
I just remember that. That's not even in my news roundup. I just remembered that. Fuck that guy too.
Copycat. What else you got, Aaron? Let's move on.
Yeah, we're moving on from this. That was it for last week. It was a pretty short list. I tried to keep it down because there was a lot of heavy shit on there. I did. You know what? I lied. I had one more from last week, and it dovetails into this week. Cyberpunk 2077 took the dicks out.
Yeah.
And then all I have underneath that is you can guess who's mad about not being able to select male or female instead of having to play as male or female. So Cyberpunk 2077 took out like a predefined gender select option.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's no checkbox. You just play the game, and you are however you play the game. That seems very simple to me.
A
lot of people mad about it.
As they always are.
As they always are about that. And then this week, CD Projekt Red confirmed multiplayer for Cyberpunk. They said
eventually
they said it will be added at some point as a free update, along with like post-release DLC. A lot of people mad about it. Probably a lot of the same people mad about it.
Oh, jeez.
And then the only thing I have below this is all caps.
You're getting free shit. Why are you mad about it?
All caps. How will this intersect with the switchable genitals? Think about that.
Yeah.
Yep. I don't know. I think it's cool. I think it's cool. There was one other tiny little piece of Cyberpunk news which I thought was sort of interesting. They've changed the cutscene camera from third person to first person.
Oh yeah, to first. Yeah. In almost every cutscene, it'll be a first person.
Which, fair enough.
Yeah.
I don't need to see myself when somebody's talking at me.
Yeah.
And then I have one other news story.
That's it. Oh, wow.
That's it. This week was slow because this week was PAX, which I didn't go to.
Yeah.
This week was This week was the Nintendo Direct, which I didn't watch because I don't watch Nintendo stuff. But the last news story of the week that I have is here's what I've written down. I may have been drinking when I did the news this week. Dipshits have a problem with the Final Fantasy VIII remaster. And then below that...
Oh, what is that now?
Oh, well, below that, in all caps, I have, can you believe they are censoring their crotch and titties?
The titties? Oh, God.
So on Twitter, there have been in-depth comparisons about the pre-remaster and post-remaster, like hemline, shirt line, like neckline of Renoa's shirt. People are angry that her shirt, her shirt looks like it sits higher up. And there have also been comparisons to one of the summons in the game, Siren, saying that they changed the way her panties are.
They covered her golden crotch.
Yep.
Yep. I saw the pictures of that, and I saw people freaked out for no reason.
Hey, I think maybe they have a legitimate point about Renoa because, as we all know, the strength of her limit break is directly tied to how much cleavage she's showing.
That's true. Yeah.
It's a huge story point in that game that the reason none of them have memories, it's not in fact because they all use summons. It's because Renoa's boobs are out. So now the whole story changes that she's wearing a tighter shirt, I guess.
You know what? Squall loses in this revision, obviously.
In this version of the game, squalldies.com is a real thing. It's not just a theory. It's also a theory I fully endorse.
So I'm excited. I'm gonna dive into that one because it was so different than Final Fantasy VII and Final Fantasy IX after that.
Final Fantasy VIII is my favorite video game, and I play it once a year.
And now you'll be able to play it actually, like the real version of this game.
I'm very curious to see if they've fucking fixed the controls on PC.
I'll eventually play it on the Switch, which everything is coming, and we'll get into that in a second here.
Do I own it? I own it on PC? Do I get the remaster for free? How does that work?
I don't know. That's a great question. Was that out on PC for a while, or?
Yeah, I've owned it on Steam for years. I purchased it in 2013 on Steam.
Have it come to console? That's what it was. Some of the other news that popped up. Yakuza 7 was revealed. It's going to be turn-based, so we hope you like that.
New protagonist.
Homeworld 3 was announced. I think the last it's been what? No, I don't even remember when Homeworld 2 came out. But Homeworld 3 is coming out 2020. Dave Bautista is joining Gears of War as Marcus Phoenix. He's going to be one of the skins for multiplayer.
Wait, Bautista's playing Marcus Phoenix?
He's going to be Marcus Phoenix. He's going to be a skin for Marcus Phoenix.
But he's not actually like replacing like in the story mode Marcus Phoenix?
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if they throw that skin out there
Yeah.
For story mode. He has made a point over the years that he's wanted to play Marcus Phoenix in which is supposedly being made, but who knows?
So this is basically just a giant in joke.
An in joke, but we hope that it becomes something later on.
That's pretty fucking great.
The Switch is a machine. We've known that for a while now. There's a bunch of fucking ports that have been announced. A bunch of shit's coming out. And the Nintendo had to direct yesterday and announced even more ports of this thing. I mean, it really is.
It's a lot of games. Can you guess what my most favorite? I'll give you one shot. Guess the game out of all of the things coming to Switch that I'm actually excited about.
Of all the things coming to Switch that you're actually excited about, I don't know. Pick Final Fantasy 8. What is it? Tell me.
Infinity Original Sin 2.
Oh yeah, wasn't gonna get into that. Yeah. So the Switch announced a bunch of ports. Overwatch Legendary Edition. So Overwatch is coming to the Switch. I like the funny blurry gifs that people are posting of what Overwatch would look like. But hey, it's coming to Switch. So there you go. So shut up, people. The other games coming to Switch, they're remaking Xenoblade Chronicles. This is the 4th time the game is being released. So it was out on the Wii. Then you could buy it from the Wii U eShop, and Nintendo, I remember them actively promoting that. Then it came out for the 3DS in like an improved version with new visuals and stuff. And then finally, it's coming out now. A definitive edition is coming to the Switch. So Xenoblade Chronicles 2 was a launch time frame title for the Switch. And last year they had the expansion to that. And so in 2020, you're getting the remake. And it looks like a lot of this there are new models and stuff.
How many hours do you got in Xenoblade Chronicles 2, Dally?
1 hour.
1 hour.
In that game, and I bought the expansion as well. There's just too many fucking games, dude. I'm staring at the pile of shame. The one game that I am really excited about that was announced a port was Tokyo Mirage Sessions. Is coming to the Switch finally. That game I actually did play that quite a bit of that on the Wii U, and then I stopped because I was getting into it when the Switch was Switch was announced, so I stopped basically playing
The
everything on the
game
Wii U.
is essentially like J-pop Fire Emblem Persona, right?
It's J-pop Shin Megami Tensei with Persona music and dancing and Fire Emblem like summons essentially. So, um, yeah, that game's coming out. I'm really excited about that game. So good on you for that. Um, ports, more ports. We have Assassin's Creed: The Rebel Collection, which is Assassin's Creed 4 and Assassin's Creed Rogue coming out for the Switch. Supposedly, that is an exclusive pack-in. Although I believe both those games have already been released for the PS4 and the Xbox One. Anyways.
I haven't played Rogue. I believe Rogue was the PS Vita game that then eventually came to console. I think.
I thought it was that what it was, or was that no? That was the Xbox 360 only game, or something like that. When like Assassin's Creed Unity or whatever that was that came out.
I'm checking.
You checking it? Okay. No, because Liberation was the Vita game.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you're right. Platforms: PS3, X360, Windows, PlayStation 4, Xbox One, now Switch.
Yep.
I didn't play that one. I liked 4.
I liked 4, and I probably put about 20 hours into 4. I had that on the Wii U, but rest in peace, Wii. There's like almost no games left in it that haven't made their way over. But I think it's a good it's a good package. You get both games, all the expansions in one edition. It's coming out this year, December 6th. And again, Assassin's Creed 3 came out earlier this year. Divinity Original Sin 2, that's awesome. Fuck yeah, that game is great. I have it on PC, and it's got cross save with Steam, so that's cool.
Oh, that's amazing. Find my review on SideQuest.com.
There you go. Return of the Obra Dinn is coming to Switch, which I think is the perfect platform for that. So that's that bizarre game that it's coming later this fall. So really cool, kind of inspection game. Doom 64 is the next Doom game coming out. It's coming out for everything. I think Doom 64 is.
That's not a good game.
No, it's not. Devil May Cry 2. So it looks like Capcom is just releasing the Devil May Cry games individually instead of the HD collection that came out. They're just kind of dropping them all one at a time on the Switch. Which I wouldn't be. That comes out on the 19th, so a couple weeks from now. But I wouldn't be surprised if we get Devil May Cry 3 in like December or January. So, and then keep moving on to 4 and DMC and all that kind of stuff. You're getting Call of Cthulhu and Vampire. Both those games from Focus Home are coming to Switch. Grid Autosport is coming to Switch. There's a bunch of ports.
Yep.
Even more were announced are coming to Switch. But and I think the biggest one. Oh, go ahead.
You do it. Go for it.
The biggest, most important port ever announced coming to Switch was Deadly Premonition.
And
Deadly Premonition 2 was announced.
Yep.
Which it's exclusive. It's a launch exclusive for Switch. They haven't started discussing other platforms, if that would be the case. But
that is an incredibly bad, incredibly amazing game.
Yes, that is a kind of the original Deadly Premonition is Twin Peaks if Twin Peaks was broken, but you wanted to see it through to the end because you don't fucking know what's going on. You just know there's cups of coffee everywhere, and you're gonna fucking go through it.
Deadly Premonition is the video game version of doing something you know is bad for you because you hate yourself, but it feels so good.
It's vaping. It's a cult game. It's the in-joke for so many folks in the gaming industry, and they're making it a second one. So good on Swery for pumping that out. That's pretty awesome, actually.
And a sequel.
And the sequel. That's just so cool, and that's going to take place in like partly in New Orleans, partly in Boston. The Trials of Mana sequel arrives in April. Pokemon Sword and Shield are going to have like a Pokemon camp type of thing and some other new features. I mentioned the Super NES online service. Oh, and then to cap it off, the next Smash fighter is Terry Bogard from Fatal Fury and a bunch of other games. That's SNK's jam. So that's the 4th out of the 5 fighters from this fighter pass. Oh, and also Sakurai mentioned that, you know what, we're just going to keep pumping out fighters. So I know we only said 5, but guess what? We're going to do more. So they're going to have more fighters.
Fucking Terry Bogard, really?
I know, out of all the characters,
like,
I could have been.
When did the last like Terry Bogard, like obviously Terry Bogard shows up in like the SNK games, but like
Yeah.
Terry Bogard's a Fatal Fury character primarily, right?
Yep.
When did the last
Yep.
Fatal Fury game come out? 2013, 2012.
Something like that. Yeah.
I guess
Yeah.
SNK Heroines, where Terry Bogard was in it.
Yeah, and then they had the collection, right? They had the SNK our 30th anniversary collection that came out earlier this year or something like that, or last year or something. So there's a little bit of a tie into that too, but um,
I guess it's
yeah,
less
it's just so
like
bizarre.
it's less weird because Ryu is already in Smash.
Yeah,
But
right.
okay, like yeah, sure. Terry Bogard, why not?
Terry Bogard.
Terry Bogard, that
Um,
well-known character, Terry Bogard.
that nobody knows, but it's gonna like suddenly people are gonna know of him more, which is so wild. But
Do you think one of
Banjo
his alternate?
Kazooie is
Do you think one of his alt skins is gonna be female Terry
the
Bogard?
female. They better. I hope so. I really do hope so. 'Cause that would be pretty badass to do. Yeah, they announced a bunch of free to play stuff and demos and things going on, but yeah, the Switch is I mean, there's a reason it's a top selling console right now. I mean, it's clobbering Japan, it's clobbering the U.S. essentially, and I think the U.K. is like they announced like the Nintendo sort of dominating European sales too, which is bizarre place for them to be in, but they're getting all the ports, and people are actually able to make ports, and apparently the Outer Worlds is coming this year to the Switch, which that their port of the Outer Worlds, which I think is coming like mid October to PS4 and Xbox One. So wouldn't they kept saying coming soon, and they did not deviate from a 2019 release date from what we know. So there's all that kind of shit coming on. But yeah, it's a good console if you just want to have like a good taste of everything. And I think at this point people are starting to wind down from PS4 and Xbox One actual physical console purchases and just grabbing a Switch. Oh, and speaking of Switch, did you see that video that I posted earlier in the group?
If I say yes, are you gonna ask me any questions about it?
No.
Yes.
Okay, yeah, cool. So, what did you think about it? No, they Nintendo came up with a fucking hula hoop, and they're gonna be announcing what this fucking hula hoop is on the 12th next week, next Thursday. Another new gimmick, little thing. They had the Labo stuff.
Are we taking bets on whether this ever comes out, or is this another Vital Monitor?
No, this is gonna come out, and I think this will come out this year, probably around December. This will be their December release. It looks like a plastic ring that you drop a Joy-Con in, and then it's you pair it with something you put around your leg. So there was this. I was just looking at this stupid thing. EA did EA Active, which was this fitness system that you wrap one piece around your thigh and then one like around your arm, where you hold the Switch, whatever, or the Wii U remotes. So you had the Wii remote in your leg, and then you held the Wii remote or the nunchuck in your arm, and you like exercise with this thing. This looks like the Switch's version of Wii Fit, but with a giant fucking weird hula hoop ring that you just do stuff with. So I'm really curious what they end up with. But another fucking gimmick, and I think it's just stupid. It's Nintendo being Nintendo.
What if they release Nintendo Beat Saber, and the only thing you can use to play it is the hula hoop?
That would be the most Nintendo thing, and they'll be like, it didn't work, whatever. But there are actually stupid VR games coming out for Labo VR, which is also bizarre to me. Like they actually made it an actual part of the Switch. I think a game launches this week, or may have launched this week or next week, for the Switch VR. That's not a Nintendo game. So yeah, bizarre. We're in a bizarre world right now where Nintendo is just like, fuck it, let's just try something. You guys want to make a piece of plastic that you stick on an earring, and then you pin it to your nose? Let's try it. Whatever, who cares? Let's do something that shoots spikes into your eyes. I think that works too. They're slowly becoming goofy Nintendo again, which I kind of like.
I am a fan of goofy Nintendo.
Yeah, they're having fun over there. They're swimming in piles of cash like Scrooge McDuck.
We might as well throw this in here, I guess.
Yeah, go ahead.
Sort of related. I don't know if you had it. Speaking of Nintendo, kind of. Reggie's got a teaching job. He's teaching.
Yeah, go Reg.
He's got a teaching
job.
Hi,
Reggie.
I believe it's at Cornell.
Cornell. That was his alma mater, I believe.
Yeah, he's teaching leadership.
That's cool.
Yeah, like.
I would take that class.
What's up,
totally.
Reg? Like fucking good on you, dude. I'm glad.
it's a perfect position for him. To
I'm.
be honest.
I mean, leadership's a great class for him to teach, given his career.
Hmm.
Um, I'm. I mean, I've never met Reg, but I'm glad
Yeah.
he's not kicking back. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like he did.
He's still a young dude. He's like only in his like early 50s or
I think
something
he's
like
in
that.
his early 50s, but he's, he took some time off, but even during his
Yeah.
time off, he was showing up places, he was doing his thing, and now he's got a fucking
Yeah.
teaching job, which is cool. However long,
Yeah.
whether or not it's a permanent teaching job or whether or not it's like a 1 year deal, I don't know, but
Yeah,
yeah.
who knows? But I think it's really cool. I think it's awesome. Welcome to the world of teaching, Reggie. From one adjunct professor to another. We've missed you, but no, it's a cool gig for him, and it's a perfect gig for him. I
We'll
think.
have to get Ryan on the show and ask him to talk about what he thinks about it.
Yeah, Gan, come on, dude, tell us what you think. Could Reggie take over your job?
Are you scared of Reggie?
Are you scared of Reggie, Ryan?
I'm scared of Reggie.
Reggie's a big dude.
The dude's like almost my height and like 2 of me wide, and it's all straight muscle.
Yeah, I want to play. I want to shoot hoops with Reggie because I know he's a big basketball fan.
I bet he can dunk.
I bet you he can dunk. Yep. I think Reggie's the kind of guy that would own a. He would end up owning a basketball
I'm
team.
gonna ask him.
All right,
Can
you can tweet at him.
Dunk a basketball, Reg.
I'm retweeting it from both my account and the SideQuesting account. There we go.
Yep.
Hopefully Reggie answers you. That's it. That's all we got. It's been a show. We've been recording for like over an hour, I think.
We're at an hour 21.
Wow! Holy shit!
We spent the first 47 minutes of the show talking video games.
That's kind of good.
Yep.
That was the first.
Yeah.
We'll have more next time when we get Sam. I know Sam's got this kind of busy time with all the sports shit he's doing. Tom is Tom. We'll get some other folks on there. I think as soon as my GD situation with streaming and getting a network that's worthwhile is resolved, I can start streaming regularly. And we've actually got people are chomping at the bit to be on our show as guests.
Yeah, we'll have to get Katie on too because I was only half paying attention when I didn't have internet. But it sounds like she's got a story about Dragon Con.
Yeah, man, I heard something messed up. For the folks that listened to us that went to PAX and were part of the party group, thank you all the folks that made the party list success. And they were a couple folks told me were mentioning in the party group that the party list group that there was some mad groping going on at one of the parties, and they were calling out this dude who was just going around grabbing ladies. If you see shit going down, call that shit out.
I'm never going to advocate violence.
But
punch that dude in the face.
Yep. Also, that is a punch worthy situation.
Also, don't punch him in the face if you can't handle it. Obviously, don't put yourself in danger. Regardless of how bad the situation is, get you and your friends away from that. What you can do is call them out publicly. Get on Twitter. Let everybody know. Get in the party group. Let everybody know. Spread that shit. Blacklist that motherfucker.
Yeah, definitely. With that, don't blacklist us. Whitelist us. Take us off your ad blocking. Come back to us. SideQuesting.com.
I live in Canada. You don't have to worry about me.
You don't have to worry about. He's cool. He's cool. We're not going to ban him yet, but you can find me at Dolly Domovsky at SideQuesting TV, all that stuff. We're going to find you, Aaron. Yada yada yada.
Yeah, you can find me at SideQuesting. You can find me Twitter at ScrattyBones. Twitch affiliate.
Yeah, he's a Twitch affiliate now, everybody.
I'm a Twitch affiliate, and I got the tax shit figured out, which is so. Check this out. Let's
Nice.
close on this. Do you remember last year when I was talking about how, I needed to hire an accountant because I was trying to sign up for like freelance gigs in the States, and they wouldn't accept my number because it was the wrong set of numbers.
Sure.
The forms I was filling out for my foreign tax number wanted a 10-digit number. I can just use my social insurance number, but it's only 9 digits, so I couldn't put it into the forms. I fucking had to do the same thing with Twitch, except they took it. They were like, "Yeah, it's fine."
Oh, did they? Huh. That's interesting.
Yeah,
oh, wow.
So I got to figure that shit out now. It's like, well, okay, why didn't it work? Do I have
to talk to an accountant or whatever?
Do I have to put a 0 in front of it for this particular form? Pay me to write things, freelancers.
Yes, it's worth it. He's got good thoughts. If you've read anything that he's posted on SideQuesting, it's all good. I'll try to get you some more review code too, because it's been been just fucking hectic with the house shit. But
Yeah,
like I said, we're almost there.
I was
We're
moving
almost there.
too, so
Yeah, it's been crazy. It's gonna be crazy for the next 3 months. We're in it. We are officially in the thick of things. So
we're in the point now where shit starts coming out, and then all of a sudden it's game of the year time.
yeah, it'll be game of the year really quickly. Yeah, I mean, I think was it last week or 2 weeks ago we had a couple potential game of year things pop up with Control and Astral Chain, and then we still got Gears 5 is getting high marks, and you got Outer Worlds.
We didn't even talk about the fact that that shit's on PC now.
Yeah, dude.
Gears 5 launching on Steam.
Marcus Phoenix, Batista is on Steam.
Again.
All right, everybody. See you in the next side quest.
Bye.